is! Can you believe it? There it is. The himbo was right again, if you could actually believe it. Everything I've said would happen is in fact happening. We are now seeing the direct ramifications of people laying down and saying, you know what?
Who cares about Maguna games? They should be removed.
Well, now they're pushing far beyond exactly that, and they're doing the one thing I told everyone would happen, and that is they are exerting control over you and the media and the games you consume, and it has become far more than you could actually expect, because now things are getting to the point where you're going to be needing age verification checks in the UK to buy and play mature rated games. We're not talking about My Stepsisters of Futanari Part 4. No, we're talking any mature rated game. That includes games like Grand Theft Auto 6. That includes anything with an M rated label. And that is exactly what I've been trying to avoid. People gave me all kinds of garbage from the very beginning. Oh, Alex, you're just a gooner. Oh, Alex, you're a degenerate. When I've been sitting here telling those same exact people they are playing with fire and letting these people like Collective Shout and the UK and so many others like Ofcom go around and start controlling what you can and cannot do online, and now even begin to take the steps for real ID verification on the internet, is going to make things exponentially worse overall. Not only for you as a consumer of video games, but also for you as an enjoyer of online digital media entertainment. We are now stepping into the world's worst Orwellian nightmare, and it is all because people decided to go ahead and lie down like a dog when those collective harpies in Australia decided to go through and email a couple of payment processors. Isn't it funny how that small domino has now trickled over to everything else? And if you don't know what I'm talking about, take a look at this. According to SteamDB on Twitter, Steam now requires UK users to verify age with credit cards to access mature content, per the UK Online Safety Act. Since you must be 18 plus for credit cards in UK, this acts as age verification. Everything that I've wanted to avoid is now happening in perpetuity and across all these landscapes. The UK being the beginning factor of all of this, going around and requiring age verification for mature rated games. People were saying, oh, Collective Shout, they're just getting rid of the bad stuff on Steam, you guys. They'll never come after everything else. Why would they? Those games, they don't care about those other ones. They only care about the bad stuff on Steam. Well, now you are required to have a credit card on file with Valve in order to buy and play mature rated games. This also comes into the fact that PayPal was removed from Steam from so many other currencies on the planet, basically only allowing a select handful of currencies available to be used for that merchant bank transaction. Because Collective Shout went through and reached out to Visa and MasterCard and so many others, now Valve has to contend with all the ramifications of that directly. And it's getting even worse, because now you have to have some sort of age verification on Steam in order to even buy mature rated games or even play them in the first place. Boy, it sounds like piracy is going to be coming back in full force now, doesn't it? On the Steam support page, it says this: the age assurance under the UK Online Safety Act. Note, this information is for UK users only. This document details how age assurance is used on Steam for UK users as required by the UK Online Safety Act, OSA. In order to access Steam store pages for mature content, games, as well as their associated community hubs, you must be logged into an active user account and explicitly opt in through the account settings page. For UK users, this opt-in process requires age verification. Your UK Steam user account is considered age verified for as long as a valid credit card is stored on the account. Now, I know for some reason, some insanely deranged 4 IQ individuals will walk around and be like, Alex, what's the problem? Everybody's got a credit card on their account on Steam. What's the big deal? There's no problem there. You're just trying to be a gooner again, always creating these false narratives and things like that. No, because we're not talking about bad games anymore. Now we're talking about direct, mature rated games and even community hubs requiring age verification on Steam in order to buy, look at, or even access. You can't even go to the store page unless you verify your age through having a credit card, which means Valve now requires your information to do that in the first place. That is a massive overreach and step by the UK government in order to try and control the content that you are seeing and the games that you can play on your own PC, even though you as an adult shouldn't have to do this at all. And thankfully, Valve had the foresight and the ability to do the right thing, because unlike other companies, they are not requiring a picture of your face. They're not requiring your photo ID. They don't want that information. A company like Valve understands the risks that are occurring with this, and they know exactly what will happen. And here's why they are using a credit card instead. And when you realize it, you're going to see why Gaben is the actual man. On the Steam support page, it says this: why we use this process. In the UK, Ofcom is the independent regulator for online safety. Ofcom's guidance on the OSA states that one highly effective age assurance measure is credit card checks. This is because in the UK, an individual must be at least 18 years of age to obtain a credit card. Therefore, credit card issuers are obliged to verify the age of an applicant before providing them with a credit card. Having the credit card stored as a payment method acts as an additional deterrent against circumventing age verification by sharing a single Steam user account among multiple persons. Now, right there is the exact reason why Valve chose the credit card method rather than asking you to give them your ID. And on top of that, they even said about Steam sharing those specific accounts. In fact, even Tom Warren on Twitter said this: my Steam account is nearly 22 years old, so I'm surprised Valve hasn't gone by account age verification for the UK's Online Safety Act instead of requiring a credit card. Well, Tom, there's your answer. Valve wants to avoid any more legal legislation and trying to contain more information of the actual users than they actually need to. Having a credit card on file in the UK means that you are, of course, 18 years of age, and thereby makes it okay to go ahead and use that as a verification method, because the banks have to verify that information, not Valve. Not holding on to photo IDs or even information IDs or any sort of information of the actual person taking a screenshot or picture of themselves is exactly what Valve wants to avoid. They don't want to have that info on file, because if something happens or a data breach occurs, Valve is then legally responsible for that information. That is exactly what these idiots in the UK don't realize is exactly what's going to happen. There is no true regulatory stance on where to send that private information to. And these companies are either A, chomping at the bit to get that information to then sell it to other providers, or B, have no idea what they're doing about it in the first place. Unlike others, Valve is finally taking the good guy approach and saying, okay, how do we get around this in the best possible manner without getting more information from the actual consumer? Finally! Hello! People who have been trying to downplay what Valve and Steam do as being anti-consumer can finally fuck off and realize that they are doing the, in fact, right thing. In this exact scenario, Valve could have done the exact opposite and done all the other things every company is doing. Do we have to forget what happened to the T-App not a few weeks ago when all the private information of all the golems came out online and everybody was being like, this you, this you, this you, this you? Nobody wants that to happen to them. And the worst part about all of this is that now the UK's push and all of this and the Harpies of Collective Shout have caused this to happen to not just the Gooner games on Steam, but also to every single mature rated game in the UK. And the worst part about all of this is, at some point, it's going to start branching out, because if the UK keeps getting away with this, it's going to be happening to other countries as well. And don't act like it won't. It absolutely will. In fact, the US even has a Kids Online Safety Act trying to be pushed into Congress, which effectively does the exact same thing, even though President Donald Trump signed an executive order about the Fair Banking Act recently. Those two things are in fact separate in the exact case, but the problem is one is about debanking, the other one is about control. Information control, Jack. And if you haven't played Metal Gear Solid 2, I highly suggest you do so. 24 years ago, Kojimbo went ahead and predicted the actual future. Haha! Just go ahead and search AI conversation Metal Gear Solid 2. Trust me, you're going to want to crawl under a bunker when you see that thing being 24 years ahead of the curve. But that's the craziest part of all of this. Not only do we have PayPal directly trying to impact Valve financially by removing all the currencies across the planet besides a select few, we also have Visa and MasterCard reaching out to merchant banks to remove themselves from being merchant banks for Steam and stop the actual flow of money going into Valve in the first place, saying, you know what, if you're not going to listen to what we say, we're going to control you via banking directly and hurt you where it hurts the most, in the pocket. But even under all this pressure, even under all those issues, Valve still does what's best for you and the consumer. In a support page, it says this: the privacy and security. Among all age assurance mechanisms reviewed by Valve, this process preserves the maximum degree of user privacy. The data processed in the verification process is identical to that of the millions of other Steam users who make purchases or store their payment details for convenience. The verification process therefore provides no information about a user's content preferences to payment providers or other third parties. On that second paragraph, did you guys catch that? I'm sure some of you did, because my viewers are incredibly smart and sharp. You guys are the absolute best, trust me. Where it said the verification process therefore provides no information about a user's content preferences to payment providers or third parties. That's exactly what all of this is about. They want to know exactly what you're buying. They want to know exactly what your preferences are. So that way, if you fall out of line, they can 100% debank you. We talked about this last week when PayPal debanked an actual game developer because the game they worked on fell out of favor of what they considered to be acceptable for their brand risk. And that person lost 80,000 British pounds. We're not talking about a couple of dollars here, boys. We're talking about thousands, tens of thousands of dollars being lost simply because the merchant bank and the payment processor decided not to simply just process the payment, and they're trying to control and see what content you're buying. Again, we are going to a horrible Orwellian nightmare of a future, and it's only going to get worse unless you do something about it. Dammit Bird on Twitter said this: according to Steam, early access is no longer an option for games with mature themes. The culling of adult games continues. At Chibi Reviews, at Pirate Nation, with a screenshot of someone trying to upload an app onto Steam and getting this message here: failure. Your app has failed to review because we're unable to support early access model of development for a game with mature themes. Please resubmit when your app is ready to launch without early access. So now it's not just about control with age verification that the UK wants. Now Steam has to go around and say, hey, you can't upload your game if it has mature themes. And even then, we don't know what those mature themes in fact entail. And it always gets worse because these are in fact gray areas, and this censorship is being pushed way too hard onto other people concerning what they're doing with their money or the content that they consume. And in fact, it's not just Steam and Valve that have to deal with this as well. It turns out that other actual game companies, like even Microsoft and Xbox, have to do the exact same thing. According to Dexerto, Xbox players in the UK must verify their age to keep access to social features. In an official Xbox blog post, Microsoft has announced that players will need to complete an age verification process by early 2026 or face limited social features. This requirement will also be implemented in other regions soon. So there it is. It's not just about the UK. So everybody else saying, well, it's not going to impact me. You're wrong. You're dead wrong. You're 100% wrong. You're completely wrong, because it is also happening to people on Discord, where their face has to be taken a picture of or age verified to even use those social features inside that specific app. And if you think it's not going to happen to you, because it's also happening right now to 4chan, of all people, of all things the UK could actually go for, they pick the most insane thing to go for. How on earth could this even happen? If you don't believe me though, check this out. 4chan rejects a $26,000 fine under UK's Online Safety Act. That's right. No, I'm not kidding. They're trying to literally go through and globally fine other companies and websites that are not in the UK because that website is not following what the UK's Online Safety Act proposes. 4chan is a US-based website. There is no reason why the United Kingdom should be trying to fine a United States company or a US website because they're not following the rules that the UK imposes. Maybe those rules should only be applied if the website is part of the the UK. And this is what I'm talking about with the actual global reach. It is going beyond everything. They are violating your rights. They are going against everything that you can do online, and they're trying to become a massive nanny state on the internet. And it all started because a couple of Karens in Australia got mad about Gooner Games on Steam. Oh God, it's getting worse. It's getting worse. Xbox is going to be rolling out the ID verification across other territories as well. Valve now had to find some way to get around the OSA and Ofcom by not obtaining that information from the actual user, and instead trying to find different ways of wiggle rooms to go through other gray areas to avoid collecting that information from you and protecting you as a consumer on their actual space, while also getting debanked by PayPal and Visa and MasterCard at the same time. And then the UK is now trying to find 4chan, but it turns out that 4chan said, nah, fuck you. They turned around and they're suing the United Kingdom because of their overreach on their stance for Ofcom. Bro, like, come on, dude. This is getting wild. This is literally like the game Syndicate, where it's going to be like these massive proxy wars of corporations and governments just trying to fight each other about who can have what kind of information or obtain what kind of info you have on you on a file. Oh, bro, this is bad. Look, this was just about video games, right? Look how it spiraled out of control from video games to this. Oh, God, dude. Just let me play the game, bro. I just want to play the video game without the government trying to spy on me every 6 seconds being like, hey, bro, what are you playing? What are you doing? Give me your ID. Give me your ID. Give me your ID. Give me your ID. Like, no, you don't have to know anything about that. The merchant banks don't have to know. The government doesn't have to know. Nobody has to know. Stop. And again, it all started with a couple of Karens in Australia who think you are the worst of the worst kind of person because of the video games you play. And no, I'm not kidding. According to Tweaktown, with a Collective Shout interview, Steam's sexual violence game defenders are abusers in real life. Collective Shout has responded to the global controversy about the removal of thousands of adult games from Steam and Visa and MasterCard's responsibility. There it is. Do you see what they'll do to label you because you don't want them to control what you consume? Do you see how far they're willing to go to call you an actual abuser in real life because these idiots, morons, and cannot separate fact from fiction because they cannot separate the fact and idea that, hey, one is not real, one is real. It's just so aggravating and astonishing to see a bunch of 60-year-old dried up like a raisin Karen go through and dictate what I can do with my money, what I can play, because I'm an adult enough to separate fact from fiction and reality. And these idiots can't, even though these are the same Karens who will read 50 Shades of Grey and then flick their bean and goon themselves to it on a consistent basis. Bro, come on. Like, really? And the crazier part about that interview with Tweaktown and Collective Shout is what they in fact said and made it very apparently clear they do not care what is legal, they only want control. Quote, our work focuses on combating the objectification and exploitation of women and girls, so we focus our energy there, says Roper. That said, we call out this objectification and abuse depictions of women and girls even where they are not illegal. Legality is not the defining factor. It is about documented evidence of harm to women and girls. This is what we're going to do now. This is how things are going to go. What's next? Like I said, books, are they next? Can I not separate fact from fiction in books? Is that how things are going to be? You can no longer have fiction or anything like that. All the Game of Thrones books I had, well, you can't read those anymore, boy, because they have horrible things that we don't like to see happen to women. No! Stop controlling what I can and cannot read or can and cannot play in my content or even can and cannot purchase in my content with my money because I chose to do it. The payment processor does not have consent in what I can and cannot buy, and they also don't have consent to hold money from me because I worked on something that they don't like. It's so funny how, like, when Roblox occurred, not a peep from any of these people and all those issues there, but hey, actual children getting impacted negatively in their real life. This is going to get even worse until things in fact change. And the Debanking Act that President Trump posted out is not going to be the end of it. It's only going to be one small part, because now the UK is exceeding and exerting their reach into the global space of what's happening because they want to have a controllable nanny state and they want to dictate what you can and cannot say online and what you can and cannot do online or play online or consume online. That is the real problem. And I'm incredibly grateful yet also terrified that a company like Valve had to find a really awkward way of getting around Ofcom and OSA's rules and regulations about having age verification checks online. content. This should terrify you. This isn't about Gooner Games anymore. It's not about maturity games anymore. Now it's about control. And that's exactly what they're trying to exert. So you should be incredibly worried and stop hand waving this and washing it away if you're one of those people. Everybody else watching this, I know you guys know exactly what I'm talking about because you've seen it before. We saw it happen with Jack Thompson. We saw it happen with Andy Sarkeesian. Now we're fighting an actual government entity. They just get worse every time. But who knows what's going to happen, because honestly, I'm terrified yet hopeful something good will come of this, and these governments will stop trying to control you, and these merchant banks will stop trying to ask for consent of what you can do with your money when their job is to simply process the payment. But with all that being said, let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say, and definitely have a great conversation about that as well. If you want to see more of this kind of content, more PC port reviews, gaming news, Steam Deck videos, fanboy content, my takes on the gaming industry, and everything else, subscribe to the channel. We're on our way to 92,000 subs. Apparently, if I get to 100K, I have to dress up as Cammy from Street Fighter. So that's a thing that I'm not going to do. But if you want even more like Discord access and emotes during live streams, become a YouTube member. It's as low as $1. If you don't want to spend the buck, don't worry. Saturday nights, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, live on this channel is an insane live stream where we make fun of fanboys, idiots, morons, and the entire internet for about 4.5 to 5 hours while I get insulted and bombarded with AITTS. Also while wearing a banana suit. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great one, and I'll see you Gooners next time. Peace!